Eating fish is an important part of a healthy diet, especially during pregnancy. Fish provides omega-3 fatty acids that are vital for your baby's brain and eye development. However, there are some types of fish that contain high levels of mercury, which can cause problems if consumed in large amounts. That's why knowing which fish to limit or avoid altogether can help keep you and the baby safe. In this video, I'll cover the top 5 fish that should be avoided during pregnancy due to their mercury content and provide more details on how mercury bioaccumulates in seafood. First up is king mackerel. This large, oily fish is extremely high in mercury. King mackerel contains well over the recommended mercury limits for pregnant women at around 0.73 parts per million. Eating just one serving could put you over the maximum safe amount. The FDA recommends pregnant women completely avoid king mackerel. Second on the list is shark. Shark is very high up on the food chain, leading it to accumulate more mercury in its tissues through a process called bioaccumulation. Bioaccumulation refers to how chemicals like mercury build up in organisms over time, and here's how it works. Tiny microorganisms absorb elemental mercury from water and it accumulates in their tissues. Small fish then eat thousands of these microorganisms, ingesting all of the mercury as well. Medium fish eat hundreds of smaller fish, and large predatory fish eat many medium fish. So the mercury magnifies every level up in the food chain and becomes very concentrated at the top. The higher up the food chain, the more mercury a fish contains in its body. Shark are apex predators that have lived a long time eating many contaminated fish. This allows them to amass very high mercury concentrations in the range of 0.5 parts per million to over 1 part per million, which definitely exceeds the recommended limits for pregnant women. Different shark varieties like bull shark and mako shark should all be avoided when expecting. Third on the list is swordfish. Swordfish also packs a big mercury punch with levels recorded at 0.995 parts per million in some research. As large, long-lived hunters, they bioaccumulate dangerous amounts of mercury through eating smaller fish over many years. The FDA cautions pregnant women to steer clear of swordfish entirely since it's simply too risky. Even a small serving could surpass safe mercury intake. Next up is golden or white snapper. This popular reef fish harbors higher mercury concentrations compared to most other snapper species. Multiple studies have found mercury levels above 0.7 parts per million in golden snapper. It's wisest for pregnant women to pass on snapper and opt for lower mercury fish. Last on the list is tilefish from the Gulf of Mexico. Tilefish populations in the Gulf contain substantial mercury that can reach all the way up to 1.45 parts per million. Tilefish from the Atlantic Ocean tend to have lower mercury, but Gulf tilefish should be avoided by pregnant women due to extreme levels. And if you're not sure where the tilefish is coming from, it's safer to just avoid it. The reason these fish contain such high mercury levels is due to marine pollution. Coal power plants and other industrial activities release elemental mercury into the air and water. Bacteria in the oceans convert this into methylmercury, an organic form which is readily absorbed by living organisms. Through bioaccumulation, methylmercury climbs up the food web into top predators. Large predatory fish, like sharks and swordfish, live a very long time, eating thousands of smaller fish over their lifespan. The mercury accumulates in their tissues year after year, resulting in extremely high concentrations. This is why it is unsafe for pregnant women to eat them. Eating high mercury fish during pregnancy poses a few different risks. It can damage the developing fetal brain and nervous system if mercury builds up. This can lead to problems with cognition, memory, motor skills, attention, and behavior later on. Studies have related high prenatal mercury exposure to lower IQ scores. In severe cases, mercury poisoning can lead to cerebral palsy, seizures, and other neurological abnormalities. Mercury is actually a neurotoxin that interferes with neuron migration and growth, both of which are important for brain development in the fetus. Prenatal mercury exposure has also been linked to increased risks of heart disease later in a child's life. It may impact regulation of heart rate and blood pressure. High exposure of mercury is also concerning for the pregnant woman herself. It may raise blood pressure, cause oxidative damage, and trigger autoimmune reactions. To limit mercury intake, follow these simple tips while pregnant. Avoid king mackerel, shark, swordfish, golden snapper, and tilefish altogether. Consume other fish lower in mercury no more than 2 to 3 times per week. Check your local advisories about safe fish caught from lakes and rivers. Many warn against eating large bass, walleye, pike, and other freshwater fish, which can also harbor mercury. When eating canned tuna, stick to lighter varieties like skipjack, which are lower in mercury. Limit albacore tuna to 6 ounces per week. Maximize safer seafood choices like salmon, pollock, shrimp, catfish, anchovies, herring, and Atlantic mackerel. These have more omega-3 fatty acids but less mercury. Cooked fish has lower mercury levels than raw fish. Choose fully cooked preparations when possible. If consuming any higher mercury fish, limit portion size to about 4 ounces. Avoid additional servings for the week. And if you want to avoid fish altogether, you can take a mercury-free omega-3 supplement made from algae oil. Algae-based DHA EPA gives you healthy fatty acids without the mercury risks. And you can always consider being tested for mercury levels if you eat a lot of seafood. This can determine if further dietary changes are needed. Following seafood consumption guidelines during pregnancy can allow you to obtain beneficial nutrients from fish while minimizing exposure to mercury. Just take care to avoid the fish highest in mercury that are unsafe in pregnancy. Focus your diet on low mercury seafood, lean protein, and plant-based sources of omega-3 fatty acids like flax seeds and other seeds. This combination supports a healthy baby while keeping mercury risks low. Thanks for listening. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions, and we'll see you next time.